Hey everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic start to your day, whatever time of the day it is you're joining me. Today we're going to get involved with our theme, our 8 exercises, our core work and our stretch just as normal. So today's theme is breath. Now this is something that I find I forget about. Often I'll catch a point in the day where I just haven't thought about breathing all day. Of course it's happening, but I think the more mindful we are of our breathing, the more we're able to be in control of our relaxation, of calming our mind, all sorts of things, which is especially topical in the time and day and age we're living in currently with COVID and all the stresses and things that have come with that, whether it's been an interesting experience, a really distraught sort of time for you, or just sort of the same existence in some ways. So do think about your breath throughout the workout, but also throughout the day and even in the week. Take it through to all your activities. When you can inhale and exhale mindfully, you're enabling that body just to slow down and relax, and that's what we all need. So bring that in when we can. I'll remind you of it throughout your workout as well. Our 8 exercises today, we have scissors, we have bicycle, or also known as cross crawl, we have swimming, we have a rollover, we have a corkscrew, which is sort of an additional exercise added to our rollover. We have a double leg kick, a shoulder bridge, and a swan to look at today. So we're moving up in the world a little bit. We're going into more of the intermediate to advanced, some of the advanced exercises as well. And of course, I'll give you options where I can. Then for our full core sort of endurance work, we've done our press up, we've done our plank, and today we're going to be doing our high plank right up in our hands. And then of course we'll finish off with some stretches. So to begin, we'll get started with our sun salutations as our warm-up before we get into our 8 exercises to focus on the Pilates side of things. So let's get started. I shall turn some music on for you as well. So beginning with a big deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to be rolling down through the body, walking those hands forward to your high plank. Here it is, you've seen it first. And we're coming through tricep or down onto the knees through tricep into upward dog or cobra. Make sure your glutes are activated here. We're then going to pull on back into child's pose. Our next move is to come into a lunge, so get that right leg ready. As you come forward onto your hands and tuck the top of the back, draw forward into your lunge. Keeping those glutes activated, your hips square to the floor. We're then going to come up into triangle pose. Keeping your hips nice and square at the top. You may find that you are not quite able to touch the floor. If you're up here, that's perfectly fine. Just keep working to get a little bit more range each and every time once the hamstrings allow it. Coming back to lunge, we're going to open out to the right side, so towards the right front leg. Opening out through the chest. And then coming back to your lunge and upward into your lifted position there. Squeeze the glutes, shoulders back and down. And hands back to the floor. Feet return to downward dog, pressing into the heels. And this week I'd just like to add a little addition. We're going to place the left foot into the center of our arm line there, allowing the right foot to be freed up for a lovely long leg line there. Keep working the height up as the hamstrings allow, and then replace, walking the hands back to the feet. So there's our right side, rolling on up, big deep breath in. And exhale, there's your breath, rolling on down. How good it feels to exhale. Filling those lungs with air. Then we have the heels of the hands, heels of the feet pressed into the floor. We're going to come to high plank. We lower down, keeping those elbows tight, grazing in past your ribs. And up to upward dog. Glutes are squeezed. From there, coming back into child's pose. Staying the seat, aka bottom, onto your heels, and ready to bring the left foot forward into lunge. Shoulders are back and down. And leaving the right hand on the floor alongside the left foot, opening out to a lovely open chest. You should also feel a good stretch through your left glute here. And through the nose and out through the mouth as you return back on down. And then take both hands off, square up the chest into a nice high lunge there. And I'm definitely feeling it in the front of the hips. And return back on down and coming into downward dog. And then our little additional move today, coming into your lengthen them like a big arabesque, fancy arabesque. And then coming back to child's pose. Sorry, downward dog. And walking the hands into the feet. Rolling on up. Good. And let's just take a seat for a moment and get some breath focus. So, taking the hands to the ribs. Feel that sense of sort of interlocking of the fingers as your ribs are weaving together. Big deep breath in. And as you expand, feel those fingers separate. And then as you exhale, the fingers weaving back in together. And again, big deep breath in. Expansion of the rib cage. And exhale, pushing back together. Excellent, cool. So first off, we're going to start with some pelvic tilts just in your seated position and then get started with our scissors lying down. So if you find a position of lift, take a big inhale, breath, and exhale out. And now with the inhale, draw your chest up, and on the exhale, pull the belly button through to the back of the spine. Once again, big inhale. And exhale. 2 more. And exhale. Good. So now coming to the floor, and let's repeat 1 more of those. Inhale, up. Exhale, in front to the spine and floor. Cool. And now find your neutral spine, belly button to spine. So with our scissors today, we're going to keep it low impact to begin with bent knees. It then might be a case of extending and finding that you can do it for a wee while and then you'll need to come back to bent. Otherwise, you might find you're able to continue with long legs throughout the whole set of 12 movements or 12 reps. So beginning off, we've got one leg up and the other low, and then you're going to switch. So you might even call them toe taps there and switch. Other leg coming right to the floor, bottom leg coming to the floor. That would be level 1, and deciding that you've got enough control, enough activation going on to let the back relax gently on the floor without taking the brunt of the work. And if you're going well, like I say, find more extension. And this time, you might have to keep the legs a bit higher if the legs are straight and not quite tap down to the floor, because that will mean your range is very significant and will probably enforce some back work. So these scissors here, keeping the legs long and parallel. The cross point, as happens in a lot of our exercises, is quite important to recognise, because the lower it is, the more intensity you'll be feeling. If the cross happens up higher here, it'll be an easier exercise. So you need to decide that based on what your back is telling you. It shouldn't be telling you that it should be nice and relaxed. But if it is coming into play, you need to raise those legs higher or bend the knees more. Cool. So now we're getting that tummy nice and warm. Last one there. Big, deep breath. In through the lungs and out through the mouth. So when you are doing that one, it's a matter of making sure, because it is a quicker movement, that you do get the breath flowing each rep. So inhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. So if you do want to do these ones in your week somewhere else, do make sure that your breath is focused can get a bit swept up in the concentration on your core that you forget about that breath. So let that be your focus today. The reason why we do, you can continue it, the reason why we do need to get the breath going a little slower than every rep is because otherwise you'll be panting. Each rep, 1, 2, 1, 2, would sort of qualify for quite a rushed breath, not very relaxed. So keep that in mind. The next one we're going to do is a bicycle or a cross crawl. So the legs are taking a circular motion. You can see that rounded shape like you're on a bike. Okay, and what we're going to do is add the body, the upper body, by way of bringing the shoulder to the opposite knee. So if you take your hands behind your head now, gently placing the fingertips at the sort of back of your neck there, we're going to be bringing the shoulder over to the short knee. The other extended leg is as high as need be for your level, the lower the trachea. Okay, and then switching through. So take it slow and find the coordination first. And then we need the breathing in. Inhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. Okay, so like I say, this can be also known as the cross crawl. Its focus is to get obviously our abs working with the leg movement, but adding the body, we get the focus into the obliques, the sides there. Even my coordination there. And last one there. Awesome. Bring the knees to the chest. Just take a bit of concentration to keep the knee to the right shoulder. Good. Making sure as you relax that you do get that breath flowing to rejuvenate you for the next exercise. Our next one is swimming. We're going to come onto our front. And once again, we're working with opposites. Okay, so we've got our tummy on the floor. However, I never let the thought of just relaxing into the floor come into mind. We want to feel as if our glutes are well activated, keeping our sort of hips rounded back. Our belly button is drawn to our spine, so there's a sense of lift up off the mat as well, even though we're relaxed into the floor. So from now, we're going to be extending one arm up and the opposite leg up. Okay, so as you do that, it kind of looks a little bit like a sort of flutter in the water there. So we call that swimming for good reason. If you can think of having the legs parallel, and you notice I'm starting off with quite a low sort of head level. I'm just sort of gazing down at the floor. Okay, and then you can start to add a bit more momentum or a bit more flow. Okay, so now instead of just dropping and lifting our leg, we're going to stay lifted with the chest and keep the legs moving at a pace that works for you off the floor all at once. So really it's just the torso on the floor and relax. So what you will find with doing that, if you focus too much on the movement, you may feel a sensation of sort of, tension and grip in that lower back. So I want you to feel as if rather than kinking up towards sort of bringing your spine in and pulling backwards, kinking I say, extend instead. So feel like every time you kick or flutter away, you've got your fingertips lined with laser beams and really extending away through the floor. And then it's a matter of working the height of the body, the chest, and keeping that gaze ahead of you to sort of enhance that feeling of extension. Cool, and relax. So after the sets here, I'm just going to do one more little set. It's one of those ones that I find you do feel the back pulling in quite soon, quite quickly. So it's better to do sort of lift little and often and build up that endurance for your back. Keeping the breath in focus, keeping the length in focus, and making sure that you do keep that connection of your core, belly button to spine, glutes activated strongly as well. Okay, so back to your breath. Let's go one more set here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Relax on down. Good job. And we'll just come into a child's pose there to give that back a break. Awesome, it's really good timing for us now. Nice little flow into our rollover, which will do the opposite movement for the body. And that's what I really like about Pilates, is there's a lovely sort of balance within the exercises to give your body the two extremes, essentially. So we're going to start on our bottom, and we're going to pop our feet down in front and roll on back to the floor. From there, we're going to use a breath, an inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to allow our legs to float up towards the ceiling and then back behind. Essentially, a rollover is allowing the knees to draw down beside your head and let their legs extend away. So your range will be up to you. Have a little watch first if you like. So a big breath in, exhale, extend the legs up and tap backwards. So there's your rollover. Okay, then the challenge is to pace the back, the lumbar spine there, the butt, and then the legs lower gently with control. So you're coming up onto your shoulders, feeling that lovely stretch through your lower spine. You're on your shoulders to your sort of cervical spine, lower through onto the thoracic spine, down to the lumbar, keeping control, lower the butt, and then the legs do just a little double leg stretch, and then coming back up. Okay, so I do feel as if my hands are quite helpful to me down here. They're helping with the control, but in essence you want that sort of tummy muscle grip really being responsible for that leg lowering being under control and nice and slow and steady. Okay, so let's try a few more. Big deep breath in. On the exhale, up we go. Feel that nice stretch through the lower back, and then control. Even if you take the hands off, the lower part of the hand off, if you feel like you are having them help you too much. And again, control, slow and steady. That last part's always a little bit heavier, it falls down quite quickly. So inhale up here, exhale up. Then on the inhale, you're waiting before the exhale, letting that exhale last the whole way down. Good. So normally we don't do a whole set yet, but we are going to add a little additional challenge on there. So you're welcome to stay doing that if that's enough. At this stage, if you're not feeling super comfortable, it might just be having the legs lift here and going for a little lift up that way. That could be your sort of challenge to start with if the full rollover is not working for you. So level 1 is just to lift the hips and get comfortable with that. Level 2 is the work we've just been doing. If that's not been working, jump down a notch. And then if you feel like you've got room to move, you can keep extending yourself. We're going to look at a corkscrew. So big deep breath in. On the exhale, we lift on up. Then from there, we're going to swoop our butt to one side, taking the feet to the other, and then come back centered. So what I'm going to do is actually turn back onto you so you can see the movement of my body. So I have big deep breath in, exhale up. From there, twisting. So I'm lengthening through my right side and my legs twisting to the right, my butt to the left, and then centering back up. Right, legs to the left. Okay, so butt to the left, legs to the right, and switch, other side, and back. Okay, so that here is a really good way to build control and strengthen your abdominals. Your obliques through the sides are taking a whole lot of contraction as you shift your hips around. So something a bit different for you, but that's known as a corkscrew. All right, so now we have a double leg kick. I'm just going to pause you for a second there. Apologies there, let's get back into it. So double leg kick. We have our legs behind and our arms behind our back with our fingertips laced. I want you to feel, just before we start, an extension of the arms and a sense of lift through the chest, opening the shoulder blades, closing up the shoulder blades, opening the shoulders, and giving your chest a nice opening here just away from the floor. So then I want you to place your cheeks onto the floor. You're going to go for 2 little kicks to your feet. 1, 2, and then as you lower them down,
That's the impetus to bring your body up, squeeze your shoulder blades, and then replace your head down on the other side. So we have kick, kick, and then extend away and draw back in. So the kicks, you should feel the hamstrings, and then extend, you should feel the shoulder blades join together, and the back extension as well. Kick, kick, down, extend away, and kick, kick, push on away. Inhale, prepare. Exhale up. Inhale. Exhale. A few more there. So lots going on. As much as it seems like a relatively simple movement, there's lots of changes going on within each rep. Extend away, open the shoulders, lifting that chest as high as you feel comfortable. And two more. Kink, kink. And last one. Good job. Hands beside your chest and pull back into child's pose. So essentially it's just a variation of your back extension work, posterior chain work. And I feel the more ways we can make that exciting and different and varied, the better. Generally not something we like doing, being on our front and things like that. There's something sort of uncomfortable linked to it, but I think the more we can get going, the stronger our back will be, the better our posture feels. A whole lot of benefits with that. So now we're going to come back onto our back for a shoulder bridge. So we're all aware of a bridge, I'm sure. You've got your heels, the same alignment as your hips. You're lying on your back, knees up to the ceiling, and you're going to push through the heels up into your bridge position. Okay, so from there, the shoulder bridge is about extending one leg, and you're going to lower and lift the leg. And the challenge involved with this one is keeping your hips still as you lift and lower the leg. So I'm going to do 5 lifts and lowers per side and move it twice through. So once you've done your 5, you replace the leg and make sure those hips are square and straight. Then extend the other leg to the ceiling, lower down with control, tap the floor and lift. 2, place into the heel. 3, 4, strong tummy. 5, replace on the back. Keep those hips elevated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just make sure that that heel is directly beneath the knee there. Last turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Keep those hips lifted and lower it down. So by the end, it's been a lot of work on the spine and on the core. So just make sure that you are worrying about the shape of that movement. I'm just doing a quick glute stretching there as well. The shape of your back and the sense that you want from the shoulders to the knees, that nice straight line, which is only achieved by keeping those glutes nice and high. Okay, so feel free to pause me there and have another go if you're wanting to search for that technique, but otherwise the focus there is on keeping that control. And the last one today, number 8, is our swan. So we're going to be moving up into a swan dive in the coming weeks, which is the quite fun sort of exercise involving a bit more movement, a bit more challenge. But for starting, we're going to come to our front. We're going to have our hands beside our chest with our elbows pulled in tight. As you take a breath in, you're going to prepare yourself to press into the hands, with the hands. Your glutes are squeezed. You're going to lift up to a point, and not the full way. Okay, so just squeezing, you've got your triceps working hard, and then pasting yourself back onto the floor. Big deep breath in. On the exhale, squeeze and wrap. Press into those heels with the hands. Take the gaze up, eyes up, and then lower back down gently. Okay, so that is your swan. Like I say, it's building up those muscles and the understanding of the movement pattern to then go into a dive, which is a little bit more explosive. Okay, the big thing here is to not let your shoulders come up or your chest close off. So if I just come a little more towards the camera here, very easy to sort of feel as if once you get up, you roll those shoulders in. So really feel that pull back and down of your shoulders. And lower down. Let's do 2 more there. Heels of the hands into the floor. And down. And 1 more. And down. Awesome. Let's go to child's pose once again. Also known as resting pose for good reason. We're quite often to find our way here after an exercise. Awesome. Coming now into a high plank. This is our last sort of section of work for today. So we had our 8 exercises and now into our more core focused or full core focus here. So we're going to be taking a position on our knees first, shoulders back and down in a sort of 4-point kneel feel. And after that, we're going to take our toes to the floor and extend up into a high plank. Now, what you want to think about here is pushing the heels of the hands to the floor, your shoulders back and down away from your ears, your belly button to your spine, a wrap and squeeze of your glutes, and extension through your legs without locking the knees, okay, to keep them soft. Visually, you want to make sure that there is the pattern of the heel of the hand up to the shoulder being a vertical line, but also being really wary, you can come down of course, being really wary of your elbows. So commonly, we see locking. A lot of you will have heard me talk about this before, when you've got that crease through your elbow there, with your hands facing forward, you will find that to lock if you're strong, you're in that position where the creases are out to the front. However, we want to rotate them inwards, so we've got a lot safer positioning there. So just to sort of have that play out, if I'm locked, you can see I'm in a hyperextended position there. If I'm safe, I'm rotating so that there's some movement. Okay, so let's try high plank once more. This is one where you can test your endurance. You know, go as long as you can. Maybe switch off the video for a second and really try out that technique and endurance sort of time factor. Oh, geez. Alrighty, so let's have a quick look. Shoulders back and down, belly button to spine. Squeeze the glutes. Keep your gaze just ahead of your fingertips for that nice straight line. Check that your butt is at a level that is in line with your shoulders and heels. Nice straight line through the body. And of course, if that is too much, coming to a flat line here is just as valuable to begin with. Okay, so feeling that line from the knees to the hips to the head. I always say, try the tricky one. I'm just going to pull back into child's pose. Try the tricky one for as long as you can manage, and then pull down into the slightly easier version for the rest that you can tolerate. Wonderful. Take a breath. We are finished with the whole section today of work. So now it's about getting some release into the body. So you've been working really well with your posterior chain today. There's been quite a good focus on that. So to begin, we're just going to start with a mermaid to get some release through the spine. So I've got my Z sit here, and I'm going to take my arm over to the side to give a good bit of release through the side of the body. Good, and doing that extension away from you. And switching sides. Making sure the breath's there with you. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, over we go. I hope you've enjoyed those exercises today. Like I say, so many within the Pilates sort of vocab or exercise bank of things that you can do. But just variety is the spice of life. Really, they're all, at the end of the day, contributing to a stronger core, balance, stability, flexibility, all sorts of things that we need within the body to live harmoniously, have our body be a nice place to live in. So rounding the spine here, I've got my hands behind my knees. You'll have seen this one before, I'm sure. Really nice one to release that spine and go against sort of opposition to what we have been doing in that hyperextension or sort of back extension line. Okay, then we did some glute work, so let's go into this one here, which is our cow. Now, if it's a bit tricky for you to get that stack of your knees one on top of the other, just a regular sort of cross-legged position is fine. And if that's not working, you may like to pull the foot a little further down and work from there, or even in front of you. Okay, so just getting those legs open, and then from there, whatever position your feet are in, tipping forward from the hip. Very deep breath in, and exhale. Should be feeling that nice release through your glutes, your hamstrings, all sorts. Keeping the shoulders back and down. You notice side on, I'm keeping that back leg being straight and just rocking forward, maintaining that straight back. Very common to feel like you're achieving more if you're down further, but that's really not giving a whole lot of stretch to those muscles. Okay, and because we worked the swan today, the triceps were doing a big job for us too. So let's take those arms, one arm up to the ceiling, kick it back from the elbow, and then give yourself a pat on the back. The other hand coming up too, and pressing down at the elbow. So that will release out your triceps. And of course, our theme of the day, let's get that breath back into it as well. Focused on bringing the heart rate down again, finding some calm, and switching sides. Other hand up, kink at the elbow, draw the other back as well to push down gently for a little bit more stretch through the tricep. Now do maintain a nice straight back too. With this one, it's very easy to kind of kink forward from here to allow the arms to have space back behind your head. But do really try and keep a nice straight back. Keep the chin up. Excellent, and just letting those arms open wide through the chest and relax by your sides. Take a couple of breaths here to finish off. Big deep breath in. And exhale through the mouth. And again, you're welcome to close your eyes if it's more relaxing for you with our breath. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've been challenged and feel changed by some of that work today. We are, like I say, moving up really nicely with some different challenges on the body, some different movements like that corkscrew today. That's probably the highlight of the day today, something very challenging for the core to control in a completely different setting up there, up behind the head. But I hope you've been able to find those options there as well. So certainly stop at the start at any point throughout the videos and do what you need to do to best suit your body and your ability right now, because you will find that real sense of progression as you do the moves that work for your body is not necessarily mine or the person beside you, right? You need to keep it relevant to you and what your level is at. So awesome work, keep it up, and we will see you next week. Have a good week.